Hi everyone, Jesse here with eTrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at, and I'll show you how to install the TowSmart custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2023 Honda CR-V. Adding a hitch to a vehicle like the CR-V is a great way to add some extra storage space on the outside of the vehicle. With this hitch you can throw in accessories such as a cargo carrier or a bike rack, and you can even do some light duty towing. The cross tubes are exposed, but they kind of sit back so you're not really able to see them that much. All you'll really be able to see is the receiver opening, and that receiver opening is your standard 2" by 2" opening, so it's going to fit most of your accessories. And behind that we have a 5/8" pinhole. The pin and clip are not included with the hitch, however we have many options available here at eTrailer. Also, any accessory that you add on will most likely come with one included. And we have a wire type safety cable loop, very easy to access with whatever style safety cable you have, for example this clevis or even an S-type like this. For some measurements, we'll start with ground clearance. From the ground to the top of the inside of the collar is just about 13¼ inches. And then this hitch does sit back pretty far, so from our center of our pinhole to the edge of the bumper here is only about 2 inches. Keep that in mind for any folding accessories that you might add on to ensure they don't make contact with the vehicle. And for the weight capacities with this hitch, we have a gross trailer weight of 4,500 pounds. That's the amount of weight that you can pull behind the vehicle. And a maximum tongue weight of 675 pounds. That's the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. Always be sure to double check your owner's manual to ensure that your vehicle can handle that weight safely. I think the TowSmart is going to be a great option for you. If you have any more questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you out. Also, if you just want to share some photos of what you're using your hitch for, please feel free to leave a review or a comment. As for the installation process, it is a pretty easy process. However, you will have to be able to lift the weight of the hitch, so you might want an extra set of hands. Also, if you don't think you can install this yourself, maybe you don't have the time, the space, or the tools to do so, feel free to check out our dealer locator to find someone local to you that'd be happy to help you out. If you are looking to see how this gets installed, then just follow along and I'll walk you through it. We'll begin our installation by lowering our exhaust down. Make sure that you have something supporting it. I'm using a cam strap, but if you're working on the ground, you can just use a floor jack or anything like that. We'll start with this rear rubber hanger here. I'm going to pry out on it on both sides. Just get that popped over. We'll get both sides popped out. It may help to spray some soapy water on that to loosen it up a bit. I'm going to go over to the driver's side and do the same thing on this one. And with those both loose, we can lower our exhaust down. To get our exhaust a little bit lower, I'm also going to remove this hanger in the center here. You could still use your pry bar, but it does help to have a tool like this to get it worked out and off that stud there. Now we need to remove this center pan here. There's going to be two 10mm nuts towards the front corners. Get those popped off. And then the rest of the fasteners will be this push pin style. So I like to use a flathead screwdriver to dig in there and pop the center out. And then you can pull the rest of it out. So I'll just continue working on the rest of these fasteners. We'll take that down. You'll have to work it around the tow hook, but we'll set it aside. Now we'll need to fish wire our hardware into place. So if you look up at your frame here, you'll see two smaller holes. That's where our hardware will be coming down. And then we'll use this large hole here as our access. So I'm going to start with the front one. We'll just feed our coiled end up through the small hole and then pull it out of that access hole. Then we will take our spacer block, slide it around, tuck it up in the frame so it's out of our way. We'll take our carriage bolt and thread it onto that coiled end. These coils are pretty tight on these fish wires, so you have to have it almost perfectly straight to get it started. Thread that on and pull everything down, and it'll poke out there. And we'll do that same process with this hole and the 2 holes on the other side. It's a good idea to have an extra set of hands. I have my great pal Matt here. We already fed our fish wires through the holes in the hitch, so now we just have to lift it above our exhaust. Try to keep tension on those fish wires so they don't pop out or get tangled like I just did. And once we get it up into place, we can just take our fish wires off, and then we will install our hardware. So with our hardware, we'll have a conical tooth washer with the teeth facing the hitch, and then we'll install our nut over that. Helps to put some sideways pressure on the bolt so it doesn't try to pop up on you or spin. Once we have one nut started on both sides, that'll hold it up so we can get the rest of our hardware installed. Once we have all those nuts installed, we have some more hardware to get installed. So this carriage bolt's going to slide through this slotted opening in our hitch. And it should line up, and you can kind of jam it into place. Then we'll take our large spacer block, the split washer, and the nut. We're going to leave this loose for now. We'll tighten up the other nuts before we tighten this one down. I'll tighten these nuts down using an 18mm socket. It is pretty tight in here, so I just recommend using a ratchet, or if you have a wobble extension like this. Now we can tighten our tow hook bolt. This one's going to be a 19mm or 3/4. Now we'll take a torque wrench and we'll torque these down to the specifications in the instructions. As far as this plastic panel goes, you could trim it out and get it to fit, but we're only installing this hitch for demonstration purposes, so I'm not going to chop this all up. But I would just recommend mocking it up and kind of figuring out where all you would need to cut it. It'll almost slip into place as is, but there will be some trimming here to make it around that tow hook portion of our hitch. All that's left is to get your exhaust hung back up, but otherwise that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the trailer hitch receiver on our 2023 Honda CR-V.